9. And then we'll talk about some cloud updates and hopefully get some intros from everybody, especially the new faces. And if anybody does have something to demo, please do. We always love that and are always open to questions. So welcome.
I started the recording, so you gonna do all that again?
I'm also recording, but I'm in Portland, but I'm on my phone because, of course, my computer decided to update the second I opened it today. So that's the way that goes. So we'll try out phone recordings too.
Yeah. Um, well, all right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I'm up in San Francisco today, and I'm meeting with friends of Fireproof and enjoying the lovely weather. So, um, yeah, let's see. The most exciting thing I'm gonna be working on today is the cloud architecture. And so me and Travis are getting together in person to work on Cloudflare stuff and the um, you know signature based authorization and all that. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. Uh, but there's been a ton of progress, like Megan said, and so we'll get into all that in a minute. But Megan, do you want to do like the do you want to suggest people to intro themselves or whatever?
Sure. So I'm gonna have people introduce themselves in the order that I see them. So, Chris, you talk enough, so we'll skip you. But Marty, I see you up there in the corner.
Everybody, my name's Marty. I joined the Fireproof project a couple months ago. This is my second or third of these video calls. My background is doing a lot of Go development. So although I do programming in lots of languages, Go is the one I'm most comfortable in. So I've been approaching my intro to Fireproof by reading through the JavaScript source code and porting it to Go. That didn't start out necessarily as an explicit task, but it sort of turned into one along the way. I shared some code last time, and I promised to publish it. At the end of this call, maybe I'll do a little demo and show you where I've gotten to, and I'll renew my promise to publish this shortly. But hopefully the progress is exciting, and I look forward to sharing that later.
Love it. Thank you. And then Anna, good to see you. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. So I'm Anna Weil. I'm out of Satellite Beach, Florida, newly moved here. Yay. Chris and I go way back to Couchbase days. I was one of the early employees at Couchbase and kind of helped with kind of everything other than engineering and marketing. And so looking to help in that realm again here.
Yeah, thanks, Anna.
We're so grateful to have you, Anna.
Yay, I'm happy to be here.
When you go talk to people in the industry who maybe are like less geeky and they're trying to figure out if they can trust these geeky types, when you say Anna's involved, they're like, oh. It's a good job, Anna.
Awesome. Mano.
What should I say?
Tell us about the hard part.
Anna and Jen haven't met you yet, so yeah. And now, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, and I mean, I don't know. You're in the middle of some interesting stuff for sure. We could talk all about what we did in core repo, but it'd be neat to hear what you're up to on the connectors.
Yeah, yeah. The core repo is some kind of closed. That's for we done it a week ago or so, something like. It's not closed, but it's almost done. And now it's up to the connectors, and the connectors are the part where the local Fireproof instance talks to other instances or remote or other things. And in this, I would say in the POC, so the version before we did, before I came in, it is quite disturbing, I would say, how it was built, and I basically tried to get it work again and then refactor it to a more proper way how to use it. So that's where I'm in the middle of. It's a little bit nasty at that point. Of course, it's the first time that we are have to talk to different systems at the same time. So a couple of new problems, especially on organization of the code, is coming up and other things. Where I'm primarily or also focus on is to get the testing part really strong. So we are having in the new, we will able to support our test suite to other vendors, so they could implement a store by their own and can use our test suite to verify that their code is proper working with our implementation, which is not a common, I would say it's not a common thing to have. So we basically, we can say, okay, somebody wants to implement that for Azure storage or something like that, and he can do that. That's pretty simple on one side, but on the other side, of course, he can also verify that his implementation is working with ours.
Yeah.
That's what yeah.
Thanks, Mano.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put into like quick context how I see that working in like the large with our code base and the milestones or whatever is we have currently out there people using 0.18. 0.19 is the exact same behavior as 0.18 but cleaned up internally how the code is organized and with more rigor around the types and maybe a little bit of behavior change, not on like what you'd get as a user, but if you're building a connector or adapter for it, but only because we had to, more or less. And then that enables us with that type rigor to do two things. One is go look at what we're sitting on as far as how it feels to use the software with 0.18, 0.19, and do whatever like cleanup and rationalization that is now is our chance to do. Like, oh, weird, on that API it's spelled doc, and on that API it's spelled value, right? Like, why? There's no good reason. So there may be some of that cleanup to do, just for ergonomics, and that'll be our chance. And that might be our last chance to do like for no good reason ergonomic cleanup because it's not cool to break software. And then that puts us at this foundation where we won't need to be changing those layers of the interface for a while, maybe adding to it slowly. And so we can do a couple of things. One of them is work on the internal APIs so that, for instance, and not that I'm saying it's a good idea, but when we get the composability there, we'd be able to do something like have the JavaScript API facade talk via WASM to Marty's Go version of the storage engine. And so that's like down the path of what rigor is going to look like in the system, and it'll allow us to do things like have maybe a storage engine written in Go running on a big server being talked to from edge function in JavaScript or whatever. And I don't know, that's all core product stuff, and maybe all the interesting, or rather the feature growth stuff, is almost like assumes that that's going well, and that doesn't really necessarily even impact it, but like the cloud just needs the core to be super solid, etc. So that's the path for getting the core to super solid. I don't know, hopefully that's helpful.
Great. And now I'm gonna just finish up the intros. So Jen, welcome to your first Fireside Chat. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, I'm Jen, based in Toronto. I know Megan and J. Chris from the Web3 storage days. Just my background in what I do. I've done a lot of project management, PPMing, some ops stuff and some product stuff. But I first moved into tech from my original space of neuroscience. I was in AI before it was as popular as it is now. So excited to meet everyone.
We're very, very happy to have you here, Jen. It's good to see your face.
Super fun.
Thank you. And Eric, hello.
Hey, Megan. I'm Eric. I've been with Fireproof since about October last year. Work on customer success, evangelism, and a bit of marketing.
Yeah. Cool. It's fun to have everybody here. Yes.
Yeah, good to see you. Great. All right, Chris. So you want to, I think you've maybe shared enough about SF, unless you want to say anything else about who you're meeting, what you're doing, and all that stuff. But then maybe talk about Red Monk.
Sure. Yeah, no, the only other part of the SF thing is I'll say hi to Michael Rogers for y'all who know him. See him tomorrow. And yeah, let's see. We already linked to it. You probably already saw it, but it was super fun to get interviewed for this podcast by Kate Holterhoff from Red Monk. They're like the kinds of analysts that your buyer type, maybe your hip buyer listens to, right? So it's just the first step along the way of us being, blessed as something that you never got fired for choosing. But it was nice to talk to somebody like that because we figured out kind of how to say it, for that audience, the value of proofs and why we're trying to make the easiest database ever. So that was fun. You can check out the link in the information channel here. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And then I'm excited. We're going back to NodeConf EU. Chris just submitted his talk right under the deadline. Well done. And we plan to be sponsoring that event. And I don't know if you want to share anything about past experience at NodeConf, Chris, or who you expect to see there, or what you expect to share.
It's going to be kind of ambitious. I want to build a demo that I haven't built yet that's like, different parts running in different places, like a browser widget and some backend code, and to illustrate data anywhere and then show off some of the ergonomics of it. So, yeah, we'll see how far we get on the cloud sign up, because that's what I really want to demo, is how easy it is to share Fireproof with your friends. So, it'll be fun to be there. I don't think I even know what city NodeConf EU's in, so.
It's in Waterford. It's in Ireland, but I don't know, can you call it a city? It's technically on an island in a castle.
Okay, I'll do that. That sounds good.
As you do. All right, tell us about 019. I mean, you kind of already did, but tell us more.
Well, the biggest challenge right now is that it's time to ship a usable release of it. And so you can do it. I mean, there's like a dev build that's out there that people are using, but the connectors aren't ready for it. So that's what Mano and I are hopping on a call right after this and figure out, just like, I think what we'll end up with is one or two of the connectors fully refactored, and then we'll probably start posting to people in this room, hey, you want to help with the party kit connector or whatever. And so, yeah, that's where we're at. Mano, do you want to say anything about like the technicals on that, or?
I did before.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of restructuring and getting this thing somehow working again.
I think what it's going to manifest as is 019, or maybe it ends up being 020. It's just going to have like instructions for how to configure it that are actually useful. So, thanks, Mano. I guess that's everything I've got about 019.
Great. Wow, what's with cloud? Oh no, go ahead.
There's a 021 thing that I started in the dev discuss, which is like, if anybody wants to go deep on data structures, right? We're kind of here because we like figuring out how to build databases. And the fun, hard part that's coming up next is multi-level compaction. And for a long time in my head, I was like, that sounds fun and hard. And then a couple days ago, it was like, I was like, oh wait, that sounds like it's just a bunch of typing. Let's do it. And so I wrote up a description of how I might do it, and that's in the channel there for anybody who wants to get ahead of me on it. Yeah, thanks. And thanks for getting up so early, everybody.
Okay, so unless you have anything to share additionally about cloud, would love to open it up. Marty, it sounds like you might have something to share. And Eric, we haven't seen you for a bit, so if you have anything you would like to add, please do. But otherwise, after that, floor is open to questions. So maybe Marty.
Short, but yeah, I'll go ahead and go first just to keep things rolling here. So I guess let me share my screen, see if I can manage this. Okay, let's go here first. Can you guys see code?
Yeah.
In an editor? Okay, so if you remember last time, I'll set this up a little bit. Last time, I had been building like a connector on the other side so that I could collect a whole bunch of data that I would receive from a Fireproof database while using it. And last time I demonstrated where I like opened up a car file and started to like peer into the internals of what's in a car file. And it got me excited. It got me to the point where I felt like maybe I could start building code that would read and write these things from Go. I sort of like got a glimpse of that and started down that path. So what you're going to see today is we're going to approach it from the other side. I've built a bunch of code which is not public yet and not shared yet. Not going to go into too much detail the internals, but let's look at a test case. So what we've got here, this is a test suite. This is being, again, ported from Fireproof. I think it's in database test.js. There's a suite called name database with record suite. So this creates, this is the setup for the test or the suite. It creates a database, so we have an open function, takes the name of the database and some configuration. I've hard-coded this for this demo just so we can see in a temp directory everything that gets created. It's going to create a document, so I create a document here, I do the put operation on the database, and we make sure that works. So that's the setup, but now let's go to the actual test case that we're going to run, and I'm going to scroll down here, it's a little bit longer. So this is one of the more interesting ones that I've got running so far. This is called test should work right with a sequence of changes. So it creates 10 documents, does a put on those documents. It does the changes, checks the changes feed to make sure all the changes are showing up. It mutates one of those 10 documents to change one of the values from world to block. It then iterates through all those 10 documents again and makes sure that it gets values of the appropriate length back, is I think the check that it's doing. It then goes to the changes feed again and makes sure that that item that we mutated is like deduped in the changes feed, so we still get the right number of the expected number of rows. We delete a record, and then we get the changes again. So you get the idea. It's sort of exhaustively making sure the changes feed works. That's sort of uninteresting. Let's do the following. Let's just switch to terminal here. So I've prepared, I think I've actually deleted this temp Fireside directory. Okay, so that's empty. So let's just run this test. And again, console output, a lot of debug output because that's the state of the code right now. But if we now look in that same directory, now see there's a test folder. That's the name of the database we used. We see there's a bunch of car files and a metadata directory. And let's just cat that metadata out. So we know that there's a key. This is encrypted with this key. And this is sort of the car file that's the most important one for us to start from. So if you remember last time, I was using a command line tool I had built. So all this was generated by the new code that I wrote, right? This is the new code generated this. But now we're going to use the tool that I showed you last time, which sort of like opens up these car files and does interesting operations. So there's a new command called get. So we can actually do a get operation on this now. So I'm going to do fpcar get. I'm going to pass in the key. And of course, I need to update that. I'm reusing old command here. So actually, let's just type this out. And then it's Fireside test, and then we want to use this car file here. And I said we're doing a get operation, so it takes the key. Now we know we mutated one of those keys, so I think that was ID-6. So that was one of the ones that got mutated from hello world to hello block, so we got the right value there. We could try one of the other ones that wasn't updated. We still get hello world. I think it was ID7 was deleted. We see the sort of marker there that indicates that record had been deleted. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, we're sort of approaching it from the other side. Now I had code that could open up a car file and read it and do interesting things. Now I've got code that can generate those in the same way as Fireproof. Again, I would say the get, put, delete, and changes are mostly working locally. I'm sure there's bugs to be discovered and rooted out, but I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. The piece I'm most excited to get working next is the connector. Now, again, I'm probably going to stick with 0.18 because it sounds like there's some connector issues with 19 that are still being ironed out. But yeah, I think once we have the connector, that's the real exciting part where we can have like the JavaScript code and the Go code talking to each other and get that warm and fuzzy feeling that it all works. So that's the current status. I'm really excited about this. I was excited last time. Yeah, I hope to get this to a state that I can publish it shortly and get other people involved. So that's all I have to share.
That's cool. On one side, it's cool, but or it's cool, but I would not recommend to go for the to wait for the connectors. I think it's a better way. You basically do the following. So you create a database on the file system with the JavaScript part, and you'll be able to read it with the Go thing. And if you do that, you basically have the same structure. And if you look into the newest things, which on 019, you will find something named gateways, and gateways are the storage part of it. So the idea is, of course, we have a general storage implementation, which is just one for everything. And it does all the magic about the encoding, decoding, and serialization. And the gateways are basically only pushing this data down to the disk or down to anywhere. So, and if you have got this, if you are implementing the same thing, you could basically read a database which is generated with JavaScript. And so you have only to do the store implementation. And it's definitely so that the connector will be the same like the storage interface. So there will be no difference. So in the future things, there will be no connectors as it are in the current state. So you basically implement a storage interface and you are able to connect that to your local implementation.
Okay, well, I look forward to those changes. Probably going to keep hacking on it anyway because I'm excited to see this thing working, and so waiting for future code is probably not going to hold me back. But yeah, I'm excited. I certainly want to keep this compatible. So when those changes are ready and then we can integrate with that, I look forward to doing that too.
Yeah, of course they are there. About the file system part is done on our side, and yeah, it's pretty simple for you to implement the same thing. And then to stop, put above that the generalized store implementation. And if you have the same architecture, it's basically compatible. And it looks like that you are done a couple other things are very similar to the JavaScript implementation.
Cool. Yeah, it's exciting. This is all starting to come together. So look forward to bringing it to a future one of these, have it all show off.
I see the Golang one as almost like a the first opening the door of there should really be like N of these. You know, like if Fireproof is simple enough, then we can make one in Rust and one in Go and one in Java, et cetera, without, you know, like we did with Couchbase Mobile. And so what's cool about, or some of the challenges that, you know, Marty's stuff is going to highlight as it gets there is, wouldn't it be cool if we could have one test suite that, like how Mano was saying, the test suite can exercise all the connectors and stuff written in JavaScript. Be interesting to see if we could write a JavaScript facade for the Golang thing just to exercise it via our existing test suite. And then if we did that, right, that facade's not trying to be fast, it's trying to be easy to hack on. And so that same facade could then bridge into any other implementation to let us run the legacy test suite. And then we'd have real easy way to stand up a new implementation. So
yep.
Yeah, thanks Marty for like going so fast that we're like, what are we gonna do with this? um, cool. Yeah, I think that's about it for today. Is there anything else, Megan?
I would just like pause for a second to see if anybody has any questions for you or for anybody else here. No questions too big or too small. Now is your chance. And
What was the date on that Node conference again, Chris? I was just curious because you mentioned
November 6th through 8th, I think.
Okay, cool. So we have time to put together some cool stuff for a demo for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a little demo script that I'm writing up, so I'm gonna share that soon. Yeah. The gist of it is maybe someone talked me down from this ledge, but I kind of think I want to do a bookmarklet where you know activate the JavaScript on Wikipedia, and now every Wikipedia page has a chat room or something. So
Cool idea.
yeah, something like that. So if you have other ideas about how I can tell the data anywhere story and like a data exfiltration story where you injected Fireproof into some legacy app and now you have data that's useful, that's what I'm thinking of for the demo. Yeah.
Well, I loved hearing from everybody today. Marty, I like that you talked about warm and fuzzy things. Here we are at Fireside Chat, so it's very appropriate. And I think it's a really special opportunity for everybody to see each other's faces. And super excited to welcome Anna and Jen. It signifies a great next level for Fireproof to have them both here. And so until next time, actually, this is important. Next Fireside Chat, Chris and I will be flying in from Alaska. We'll be on a plane, so we'll be adjusting that date just this once. So look for an updated date for that, and have a great next month.
Thanks, y'all.
Same.